or director meeting office. Okay.
Hang in.
Shall we start with dedication and pledges to the flags? God Almighty, we thank you for the country and family state we live in. Thank you for the privilege to serve our represent our fellow citizens and doing this business tonight. Pray that the business we do will be doing in order in good fashion. That we would honor you in what we do. We pray this in Christ's name. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag, and pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Any comments from the public? Any requests for actions suggested?
I don't have any.
No.
Consent agenda? As we looked at that. Any questions or comments? Any motions to?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from August 2024.
Second. Is that the whole consent?
Oh,
Yeah.
consent agenda. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. On down to item 9. Eric,
It sure is. Yes, gave you a copy of the updated budget from last month. We actually didn't make any changes other than putting in actuals, August actuals. So, I'd open it up for any questions that you have. Okay.
SJRA fog program, what is that?
Where you?
Fat oils and grease.
Right, fog is fat oils and grease.
Pardon me.
Fats, oils, and grease. So those fats, oils, and greases accumulate in the sanitary sewer system. So have to be addressed and cleaned out from time to time. Usually in those stations, sometimes in the line work.
It's the grease.
But sometimes it might need to be broken up. It's in the brick or up to big conglomerate.
So is it an unusual amount that we have? Is that like separately budgeted?
It's derived from the number of commercial customers you have, and it's mainly from the grease traps that SJRA is maintains, and we pay them for that service.
We got a couple of questions on the memo. On page 2, first paragraph talks about the net loss. So with the updates, it's the net loss of 178 down, and net loss of 142. I think that should be up. That's correct in this meeting.
Well, it's more of a loss, so I'm thinking down, but
Yeah, the loss is down.
yeah, it's more of a loss, so
It's more negative.
yeah.
Negative, fine.
Down, so up.
We're definitely redoing this.
Okay, the loss being down means the negative is getting less.
It's negative is getting more.
Brad, I've seen more counterintuitive.
Yeah, okay. But Bottom line is, we've got a projected loss of increase by $38,000.
Mhm.
There you
So can you explain why, was that just the August actuals or? August actuals?
Mainly, yes.
I have a follow-up question to that. How do we make that up? And,
make it up.
well, increase our revenue to.
Well, in reality, we do, we just have slightly less reserve in the year.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's pull it out of reserve.
correct.
I mean, we still end up at $2.3 million. About $35,000.
Right. It's 2.5, yeah. Beginning cash right here.
Right,
Yeah.
on the back.
That sewer project will end.
Start something and start over.
I mean,
Yeah, once the sewer project's done, then we'll start growing a little bit faster.
anybody concerned about the 7.7 million? I mean, that's.
Yeah.
You are.
Well, I mean, I think that you're increasing our expense rate. It's like, it's not going to out for the 12 months. Emergency fund.
Decreasing.
I think-
Decreasing.
We had a one-time expense unexpected, more than the head drills. Some of the major, like. Right.
Tax collections.
Yeah, but I mean, we haven't seen a lot in reserve this.
But this reserve number is based on stock prices of today or not really stock prices? Where is the investment pool kept?
Oh, that's. in-
Yeah, that's just.
This is just based upon, our
Today's value.
normal monthly expense.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that we're good to go when we know, yeah, it looks good compared to all these numbers in cash and I just think reserve, but when we talk about having to do your reserve on here. Let's say if we get something, right? You know, that is something that. This to keep in mind, right?
I think the goal of our reflection from last month was to continue to grow that reserve in future years. This year, you would have a surplus to grow that reserve with your cash fund in $700,000. But that's what's really looking to, otherwise you would have a surplus. We can't protect the tax rate, so take that off. Probably what, 600, 550 surplus, so you don't have a budget not to spend, so the teams will build that reserve next year.
And I think the reserve would be primarily based on what kind of expenses expected and unexpected. And the revenue is somewhat dictated, right, by when you're collecting taxes and when you're collecting water bills.
You just did what we could do. So.
Right. The only other revenue number you've got right now, you have on, authorization, you have to go, increase your portion. It's could be maxed out.
And on the WWA side, we'll be developing a capital improvement plan to kind of look at future expenses related to, particularly, I think the more immediate one would be, ditch maintenance and ditch piping maintenance, or repair, as I mentioned last month. So that's something that, once we kind of have that, plan, we can start to look at long-term, what are some expenses that we may need? There's one thing to have money in the bank for bumping the nights things, of course, you want that, and you look pretty good for that right now, 2.3 million. As Brad said, there's not gonna be a whole lot, it would take a lot of something really big to get there, although, it's not a never, but it's unlikely. So that's one thing. The other thing is long-term planning for, potential capital, expenditures. That would be planned expenditures. So that's why without a capital improvement plan, we can't plan right now. So once we develop that, we'll be able to kind of see where things are going. So we'll be able to better look and see what the target should be.
I
Right
mean,
now,
we do have an existing 10-year plan.
of the estuary facilities. You don't have anything for your pipe, water, sewer, drainage piping. And you have significant assets that are not included in that. Yeah, and they're aging too. I don't anticipate that there's anything major immediate on the water side. You're already doing things on the sewer side. Now I think we need to focus on the drainage side and see how the ditches look and the ditch piping that's disintegrating. But we'll see, we'll know, we'll have the plan and that'll kind of help us, help guide us.
As I recall from last month, we're sort of like in the middle, months that have less fuel cash.
Yes,
We weren't in a bad situation. I mean, I thought we were sort of in the middle of this.
yeah, six, there's a couple small, I mean, you're definitely in the lower quartile for sure, but not in bad shape. Right. So we are needing to approve the budget today.
Very little vote. So,
Correct.
you know, motion.
I'll move.
Second. More discussion? Vote, all in favor of passing the budget? Say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackson. Bernie? Just on the wrong second.
Yes, so RNS 12 is the policy document that summarizes your water and sewer rates. So we're not proposing any water sewer rate changes on the retail side, but the change here will document the estuary change in the GRP, GRP rate, which is going down. So we still have to document that officially in the RNS 12 document.
We have to accept it.
Yeah, just adopt the new policy and then it'll be documented.
Proposal?
I move to approve the rates for water services as presented at the last meeting.
Second. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We said it last month.
That's correct. We talked about last month, the documents are actually, it's a two-step process. Last month, we went through our sales pitch was to authorize publication of notice of district's intent, so an actual rate not to exceed 0.110002. Now it's all to the first.
Correct.
Fine. So since we completed that first step, we can move on to the second step, which is to first conduct a public hearing and then to consider the levy of our tax rate. So we can adjourn the regular meeting and open the public hearing for comments regarding the tax rate.
Close and open. Do you have any comments from the public? Close the public hearing.
Close the public hearing.
And reopen the regular meeting. Okay.
Move to item 12, which is to consider enacting the levy of the 24 tax rate that mentioned was published was 0.110802, which is about half, a little less than half the reduction from the 24 tax rate, which was 0.115302. That is within the 3.5% of the back. Presentation.
If you're interested in stuff, I like to see the numbers and plan recommendations.
Which stage?
So, but.
Oh, right here.
And numbers we can get a file.
All right, and that's what built into the budget.
We have the on the discussion, we're ready to have a motion.
I moved with the,
Okay, well, our motion. Paul, you want to second that? That'd be quiet. I'll second it. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
That's on.
Okay, so we have a motion, as described and as shown on page 2 of the budget memo. Discussion last month. So, have a vote on favor of moving to 0.11082, 2024, say aye.
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 Signature.
Fine, finishes 12.
That finishes 12, and I think it's the 13, which is to approve the execution of an amendment to our district information form. We do this after the tax rate adoption. The district information form has a lot of factual information about the district, including what the current tax rate is. So now the tax rate, we need to amend that form to reflect your current tax rate. So I got that with the change the size, like,
Do we have to vote on it?
yes.
I asked-
Mr. Jay.
And then I propose that we amend the district information form to reflect the new tax rate.
Second.
On favor, say aye. Aye.
Brian, what is that form for?
It gets reported in the property records. So that way, it has attached to it the purchasers, our property, which the brokers and look at that.
So we have 4 signatures from Jack's.
All directors. So,
I'll see Jackson next.
you know, we just had a lot.
Okay.
Did you say?
You know, y'all start bringing back.
Should I sign?
You should, I'm going to something.
Okay.
It's at the line and sign it.
Just want to finish your signature. Oh, you're all night, so now you're done. Okay. Monthly update on the room tour, Chris?
All right, here. Our reports in your packet, beginning on page 18. I just have 2 things to highlight. One is that we do have financials up here as a separate standalone document. It's May and June, so it gets us partially to where we need to be. July was not able to be completed. I'm hopeful that we'll have July next month. As a reminder, we typically do not give out the August financials because that is our year-end close. And so the August close date's actually pushed out a couple more weeks. But we do pass out the annual comprehensive financial report because the audit for the entire year. We'll get that around January, maybe February. So do have 2 months worth of financials here to review. That also means that the projects starting on page 23 for the Willis division, those have updated financials as well. Now, next month, they will be updated with the July and possibly all financials as well. But as of now, they do end July 1st. One thing to point out, on page 24, you'll see that yellow highlighted project. That's a project that is entirely funded, closed, and done. So what you see on the invoice they call it, that is the final invoice, is everything added up. So y'all can see what the invoice today is versus the contract versus the budget. Underneath that project, the owner's advisor for new wastewater treatment plant number 1. That is the project that was approved by the trustees a couple of months ago for not to exceed $500,000. So the budget is $500,000. Contract for $499,000 in cash. So the numbers that you're seeing here, 550,000 and 559,000, are incorrect. Those were the previous work order that was canceled. Typo I caught last night that I will be correcting going forward. It honored what the trustees had requested and the contract is under that. But then the other, report is all pretty common items, but if you have any questions or anything, we'll do your meeting. But go.
I'd just like to say on page 18, Dr. Glenn, it's a great job, 50/50.
Yeah, that was, yeah. Now, of course, it's 49.9, 50.1, I agree. Rounding up with my favorite.
With it.
Were there any issues in that life for the kids and everything is working fine?
For the blade ratios? Yeah, surprisingly, so we just finished up yesterday, the GRP allocations, because the budget was for about 13.5 million gallons a day. We only did 12.5. So y'all did exactly where you needed to be, but the other entities left water on the table. Which is interesting to me because like City of Conroe, for example, left 10% of their allocation, 100 million gallons of water on the table. It bits of information
But I think that water
goes away.
will get used.
Was in the state of the lake. We didn't fully do the actually treated, so it's the state in the lake. And then September 1, we started over with new allocation of 13.2 million.
You go to page 32 and 33. I get the impression the Woodlands is carrying the burden for most of the surface water. And I see under the groundwater usage remaining participants, is that like the rest of the county that's not listed there?
Correct. So there's 149 participants in there's 80 contracting participants, 149 water systems. So there's only 7 of those that receive surface water. Of those 7, the Woodlands has requested a 50/50 thing. And the rest of them, basically, at this point, it just said, prior to this point, it just said, give me whatever you need. So to honor 50%, the Woodlands is going to carry the load with surface water and get the bulk of it. On the groundwater side, yeah, the remaining participants is the other 144 utility systems that are not included in the groundwater usage.
And why is that? Why aren't they participating?
No, they are participating, they're just not receiving surface water.
Why?
Because if we try to develop a pipeline network to encompass all 149 systems, it would have been probably at least a couple $billion.
Okay, so you're saying the infrastructure is not in place.
The infrastructure is not in place. Now, the ultimate plan, because so GRP was originally designed for 4 phases. We're just in phase 1. And then actually right now, we're supposed to be in phase 2 and double capacity of the plant and extend lines further. And give or take every 5-10 years, similar to what y'all see in Eastern, what they're doing. It was supposed to expand further to reach almost all the participants. But instead, phase 1, they over converted the 7 agencies that you see here. So the rest of them could stay on groundwater. And so now the groundwater people are paying their fair share for everybody else to have service. They still pay debt service and they still pay a large portion of the operating cost for the surface water cost. Yeah.
So surface, I'm sorry.
It's part of the matter of being cost effective. It's much more cost effective to send surface water to people that are closest to the plant and are the major consumers, rather than worrying about distributing surface water to the whole county and having putting infrastructure for small users.
So surface water is more expensive than groundwater.
Right.
So to encourage less use of groundwater, is it possible to increase that cost?
Well, they're paying fee. It's not like it's free. I mean, they have to have sort of groundwater plus be a part of the GRP. So they're paying a fee for not taking surface water at all. It's still paying.
Does that fee make it equivalent to what they, does that fee make it equivalent to what they would be paying if they were taking surface water?
So the groundwater fee is $2.67. Surface water fee.
$2.97. Oh, nice.
Currently it's 320, it's going to
320, what's
297.
297?
Blended?
No, not blended.
Oh,
So 267 plus
Remember.
58 cents. That's
And those same entities that are pumping their own groundwater are having to pay to do their own, plus they're paying. So it's already probably more than the surface water pays.
You're paying $2.57 plus 58 cents, you said?
They're paying $2.67.
67 plus 58?
No, so the surface water, everybody pays $2.67, but if you get surface water, you're charged 58 cents.
Okay.
If there was no, if all the groundwater without, nobody was paying for any groundwater usage whatsoever, surface water would be $6 to $7 per gallon.
This is one of the approach distribute costs across the county. And then address the tightness and the most cost effective now. Because everybody in the county benefits from reducing groundwater use. When we do it, we recover groundwater just the supplements, the surface water.
When we have a groundwater district that helps, or is supposed to help. How do I pray you?
You're good, but you
I'm
don't.
trying to, I'm on my own, right? They're supposed to be encouraging the use of surface water by restrictions and by the rule and regulations about how much they can take out of the pocket. That's one of the ways that we encourage the move over.
But at our last meeting, we discussed it, but. And that's only things.
Please,
We'll
I
recover
think
this,
that's it,
we'll recover this when we get to,
yeah.
when we get to custody. Summary. There was a discussion on this last one. I had a couple questions on the project. So you said July 1st, the note on 29 says, page 29 says July 31st.
Okay. So July 1st, you can count July 1st as being good. There's still some outstanding July invoices that have not been posted, because I saw them today.
Correct.
So there's going to be changes. They may come back and say it's as of August 31st, but there's some July invoices that's still in code.
Okay, so the note on July, on page 29.
I'd strike out the 30.
Yeah, okay, okay. Mention the owners advisory activities. Anticipate kickoff early September 2017. Any update on that?
We had to kick off last Wednesday. So the consultant is just now getting started with document review, data request, all that good stuff.
Consultant,
Corello Engineers.
same, similar question on, let's say so. Yeah, question of let's. On the, condition-based assessment, it's been going on for a while. Any updates on that?
Nothing right now, nothing we have in our hands, I guess to say. So they're starting to wrap up one of the ultrasonic testing. You may have seen some people around, kind of like surveyors out and about over the last month and a half or so. They've basically been doing the non-destructive testing of the AC plot lines. So they're getting that data in, then they may send out another crew to do some a different type of ultrasonic testing. Once they get those two sets of data, then they're going to determine whether destructive testing.
Timeline?
We're going to be giving you guys a timeline hopefully next month, that is Eric next year. Where things we don't have it.
Like that, digital. Okay, on the.
Update on AC testing.
You're ready.
Yeah, if there's something, I mean, we're not gonna have results, that's just one thing to keep in mind, I think the reports that we're gonna get is gonna be here at the beginning of next year. But we could definitely give you a timeline of what occurred, where it's occurred, and that type of thing.
Is the testing being done for all the next districts, or just particular places to focus on?
So they went through and they looked at certain areas, so it's only on 18 miles. So there's only 48 of the 120 miles of water lines in the limit. Of those 48, it was too expensive to do all 48 miles, so they went through and looked at the ones that they thought were highest risk, and those are the ones they done. I forgot how many miles they said, but they told us it was one. we'll have that.
Page 37, comment about 11% complete. You got complete numbers up at the top. It seemed like it was more at 11% spent. About the actual work complete.
That's right. I need to say who handwrote that note in. That is not my handwriting. You can read it. So I need to say who wrote that in and ask them to put a disclaimer or whatever it is, qualifier next to it.
Okay, so it has 11% spent. Okay, and the complete numbers are up top on by work stream. Some are 65, 85% complete, some are. I didn't know whether they actually had done a or scope balance this way based upon these things.
It looks like they did the math on total to date and authorized amount.
Yeah, it's just percent spent, not
Yeah.
percent work items complete by the project. It's right. I also have questions on. What? You doing the branch did also?
That would be the chief.
I can take that. Let's see, so last month, a couple months ago, if you recall, the engineer Kane gave you an update on the project. There was, in the new cost estimates, a delta of funds available versus, expected cost of the project. So we took to the next step and identified, tried to see if there was any additional funding. We set up a meeting with Congressman Crenshaw and Representative Hope and a number of other stakeholders. And just to really give them an update on the project and what it was and what was included. And from that, there wasn't really any easy to locate funding. It didn't appear to move the project forward. So reporting that back to MUD 67, who's the lead on the project, MUD 67 decided to get the committee back together that was originated a few years ago when this project started. And so what we're asking is for the stakeholder MUDs to identify an individual or two, up to two, to join that committee, and then we will basically get all the stakeholders together and figure out what the next steps are. Whether we do some more modeling or work a little harder at trying to find some additional funds or whatever the path forward needs to be, get the stakeholders together. Back together.
You're looking for 2 volunteers,
Correct.
officially meeting once every couple of weeks, maybe once a month.
Maybe not even that, yeah,
For the beginning to get, and then,
correct.
then you go quiet for a while.
Probably, yeah. Once we identify what the desired path for, I mean, we may have some meetings. Probably has to go back to the boards, perhaps. I don't know, what funds are in, like we talked about, there's funds available, but they're identified for certain purposes. So we'll just have to see what the committee wants to do. Project.
I'm open to,
When do you anticipate the person being there?
We can probably start getting rolling in the next few weeks, to be honest. Last month, several of the stakeholder meetings had already happened. By the time 67's on Wednesday tomorrow. So y'all didn't hear that because it hadn't happened yet. So I'm just getting everybody up to speed and identifying the members of the committee, and then we'll get the committee together. See where we go?
and just to remind folks, this is opportunities in addition to some other opportunity we have is the Public Education Committee, which is another committee.
You'll hear about it here in a little bit, but that's right.
That's quite a big amount this.
Probably openings for 3 different volunteer spots on committees.
I want to share, you've already.
Yeah,
Sorry. Sorry,
I can't do your phone.
so. They like to join that?
Would you have me?
On Bear Panther? That was, which one we're talking about?
Yeah,
I'll be glad to do anything to help.
I'm kind of, I'm a experienced person and I'm a news person.
I appreciate it.
You know, as I didn't refer to the age.
So Jack and Paul,
All
All right.
Okay with that? You got plenty going on.
You know, I'm willing to share my opinion.
Yeah, I've gone to a couple meetings in the past, not real recently, but there's a lot going on. Like that. So we'll put that in the minutes for. Yeah.
I've got it down.
Attorney's report?
Nothing on the attorney. What's that?
One water task force. I thought this wasn't coming in.
I didn't, I wasn't going to, well, I just, since you'd requested, I thought I'd put it on in case there was additional dialogue, but there's nothing to report. And there's no meeting scheduled or anything. at
There's
this
no
point.
request for funding.
There's no request for funding, that's correct. So, well, right now, it's probably me at this point, in coordination with township representatives as well. So I think that was where the idea of finding, someone that has a little bit more time to push things along than me. That's why the idea came up of getting someone else or hiring someone or part-time or consultant, whatever the case may be. That's where that request came, and there was a discussion at the trustees meeting about it, last month. But it didn't go anywhere, so. It initially originated from one of the other MUDs. It's just an inquiry to say, would we like to, look at maybe getting someone in here that has a little bit more free time to be able to work through some of these more bigger regional issues, whether it's drainage or water supply or whatever the One Water might want to capture and try to solve, whatever that is. So that's where it came from. There's no active request. There was the topic was brought up at the August trustee meeting, and there was no action made, and no other, this district is the only district that this item stayed on.
I think trustee discussion went down the path. The scope of this task force is much bigger, which is certainly much bigger than what's happened. And maybe the right place for this is the county commission. Potential maybe county commission on this county rather than us. And that's what I want. If there was a request for funding, I wanted us to have opportunity to discuss that since there's no request for funding. And it's, I don't think anybody poses objectives. Objectives are kind of same. It's just the scope of the work is much larger than WWA and the response. I mean, maybe we'll use this stuff and get in kind of commission. Okay, thanks for that update. We'll close there. You want to go on to your GM report?
Sure. I did want to bring up, last month you heard a presentation on your insurance coverages, and did want to bring back that I am recommending to all MUDs, to move the D&O code coverage from 2 million to 5 million. That was one of the requests from the MUDs to see what that looked like. The cost is very good. I think it adds another $2,000 to the budget. And so we're moving forward with that. I just want to let you know that. On the GM report, on page 41, one of the things I wanted to point out is we will be developing a drainage condition and condition assessment policy, or protocols and policy, whereby we will throughout the year be running all the ditches to identify the condition, and then we'll have a post-storm condition assessment as well immediately after large storms, where we see if there's any significant damage. That we'll have a little bit better proactive approach at assessing, that everything's operating the way it should. As you can see, we're just starting out some building improvements. Got a few more to go. The trustees did approve their budget, which did have a few other building improvements, paint, some technology, projector TVs, things like that, security, and other things around the building. So to upgrade it from the 80s to the 21st century. So we'll be working on those. And then in the back of your report, there's a few more articles than normal. There's a lot of things in the news this last month. And so we're just sharing those, particularly about our neighbors and other municipalities in the area. And with that, I will kick it on to John for the communication report.
Good afternoon. Page 47 starts your communication report. We are in the fourth quarter of our strategic plan, so the focus now shifts to value. Infrastructure renewal communications, you're going to hear a lot about that in just a second. We'll skip over that. Heads up on the coming water bill ad will communicate the fact that water bills are going to go down a little bit. Typical customer this coming year, passing on that reduction in the wholesale water rate for going forward. You've got some samples of advertising and market materials in the next couple pages. You'll see more added to our social media outlets there, and we are adding Instagram as another platform here any day now. We're just trying to expand our reach as much as possible through that. Then skipping over to page 50, we had a fun thing I wanted to update you on. Our kids art contest finalized. We had some great entries, quite a few. Gave out some prizes, and the artwork will be displayed through some of our public outreach that we have planned for the lobby here in the future. We've got the fun engagement tool. We'll do that again. You've got your outreach calendar there for in-person events. As always, we invite you to join us at any of these events for a few minutes or the whole duration. We've got a big one coming up on the 28th, Landscaping Solutions. And then we have 50th celebration is another big one for us. Wildflower Festival in the morning there on October 19th. In the evening, the 50th anniversary celebration. That's all at North Shore this year. And we do have an upcoming educational opportunity. It is going to be a presentation online next Thursday night at 7. We're going to send you an email on this, by the way, so you'll have all this information. But it's going to be Mr. Jason Ramage from the USGS giving his annual summary of water table data. And Mr. Nelson there is involved in arranging that for us. Great information that Jason will be bringing forward. And if you miss it, it will be recorded, and we're going to make those recording available on our website to push it out through our social media and other channels as well. So next Thursday, 7 o'clock, it's a Zoom. Again, we'll send you an email on that. You can find the recording if you miss it.
File. I know some of us may have conflicts for next Thursday. And whether we have time to watch the recording on the channel. Would you be willing to bring a short summary? That's not it's fun for us.
Yeah, I'd be glad to do that.
I've done that in the past.
It's typically, well, like any presentation, there's slides that are very important to the whole thing. You don't have to, you know, I'll be glad to bring that up, talk about it.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
And I would echo what he said. I mean, based upon what Paul shared and what I've seen in the past, this is a first quality presentation, kind of foundation as well. I'm going to talk about that. And
They've been doing it a long time. It's not like it's
there's a lot of chatter, churn in this area. These guys are like the on line.
Independent research.
Can I ask you sort of a simple question?
Okay.
What do you mow? What is responsibility for looking at water to mow?
About 1,000 acres of ditches.
But is a ditch including going back to the green belt? Is that part of what we're doing, or just along the roadways?
Just depends on the situation. I mean, basically the right of way of the ditch itself. the legal boundary of the ditch itself is the responsibility. I don't know where the green belts are in terms of what you're referring to, but kind of depends on where the green belt is.
Okay, I know that there's generally like a half back there, there's a huge ditch that goes back to the
Yeah.
green that's,
Yeah, some have that and some don't, so I just have to look at that situation.
they have the ditch, then we mow it.
Yes, if it's a Woodlands Water Agency ditch. Like I said, there's about 1,000. I've got a map upstairs I can show you which ditches we're responsible for.
Okay, just sort of curious.
Yep.
Thank you.
And we mow them, I guess 4 times a year.
Some of the last one, probably October, so next week.
That's great. Okay, next item.
Yeah.
Kind of. That's me.
Oh, no,
Yep,
you again.
yep.
Oh, well, now we.
So now we're to, putting your items. That's right. So as you know, we've been working, the PEC's been working hard over the last year, to kind of update folks that are a little newer. Last fall, about this time last fall, SJ entered into a contract with Holloway, who does, communications and PR for big projects, which you'll hear about in a minute. To help the Woodlands Water Agency, the SJA, and on educating and creating a platform to be transparent to the community, and on the aging infrastructure in the Woodlands. So, well, in all forms, whether it's water, sewer, whatever it is. So, over the last year, they've developed kind of the strategic plan. We've just finished up the website. So there's a landing page for the community and a website. And now that we're to the point where we're really in the implementation phase of the campaign, I thought it was very good timing to have Holloway come and give you an update on what we've been doing, what's been developed, and where we're heading. And so with that, we have Connor and Cindy here tonight to give you a little update on what we've been up to.
Thank you all for having us. My name is Connor Stokes. I'm the Communications Services Manager at Holiday. Cindy is a Senior Project Manager with us. Like Eric mentioned, we will be previewing the website that we put together here today. It's our big ticket item, if you will. But before we do that, we have a brief presentation. So with that, we just want to tell you a little bit about us as a firm first. We'll talk about what water renewable is. We'll talk a little bit about how we got here.
On, you might have.
Like,
So Holloway Environmental and Communications, we are a Houston-based firm. We were founded about 30 years ago, strictly as an environmental consulting firm. And then about 20 years ago, or so, we identified a need in the public involvement space, specifically as it relates to the National Environmental Policy Act. And since that time, we've really expanded our expertise in communications, strategic communications, creative services, and all these things. Most of our work we do here in the Houston area. We do a lot of coastal planning work, communications for coastal planning projects on the Gulf Coast, and really throughout the entire state of Texas. We just have a few of our current past projects there of note. We're in Harris County, that next project that is looking at remapping all of the floodplains in Harris County. We've been involved with the Coastal Texas project since the study phase. That is colloquially referred to as the Ike Dike, which you may have heard of, as well as several other large scale projects. We do a lot of work for Harris County Flood Control, Harris County Engineering Department, other local entities and agencies, and we also work at the state level supporting Texas General Land Office and the federal government. Just to name it. So what is Water Renewable Woodlands? Water Renewable Woodlands is a collaborative effort by Woodlands Water, the MUDs, and the SGRA, focused on long-term modernization and rehabilitation of water and wastewater infrastructure. The projects are sourced from the SGRA's 10-year project plan, as well as additional projects that have been identified by the Woodlands Water. Our objectives here with Water Renewable Woodlands are transparency in the way that we communicate, educating the public, the customers, and providing engagement opportunities for customers, the public, to make sure that we get their feedback. We also, of course, want to ensure efficient, reliable water and wastewater services through this effort and maintain the infrastructure. So how do we get to today? Last year, we started off with a needs assessment. And the purpose of that was really to really learn about the ways that Woodlands Water SGRA were currently conducting their communication, and really to serve as the foundation of our strategic communications plan. So through that assessment, we really looked at, pretty much, all the different ways that both entities did external communication, from websites to advertisements, even diving into media coverage, just to gain a really good understanding of that communication and how it was being used. Following that assessment, like I mentioned, that served as a really good foundation for us to put together a strategy. So that communication plan served as a guide for our implementation. More micro action plans will be developed in addition to that larger guide for implementation. But just in short, that plan identifies communications methods, tools, tactics, as well as internal processes, just to make sure that WWA, SGRA, its consultant team, and Holloway, that we're all in lockstep and alignment. So here we are working towards implementation. A couple of key things that I want to just mention. Implementation, to where we are now, and you'll see our logo and our branding, Water Renewable Woodlands. It's on the title slide right there in the corner. We really wanted to create a brand identity. Jumping into our needs assessment at the very beginning, WWA was very, it's great in sharing a lot of the feedback that they've received through customer surveys in the past. So we knew that there was some confusion around who's responsible for what as it relates to water and wastewater infrastructure. So we thought it was really important to have this central brand identity where customers, the public, could come and really learn about who was responsible for what, what are the differences. And then the next thing I just want to highlight, we can go ahead and move to the next slide, is the website that today Cindy will be giving off and preview here. But the purpose of that website is, I think Aaron mentioned, is really to serve as a central hub for information, the central place to provide feedback. And pretty much, every item in terms of external communication and advertisements going forward, we will be linking back to our website. We really want people to know that website as a trusted source for information, a place where they can go and provide feedback, and where they can get a hold of our team. That website, along with all the messaging that went into all the content in there, has been very closely coordinated. Has been very closely coordinated with the Public Education Committee. All of that has been several rounds of review and revision and discussion to give to the place that it needs to happen. And just lastly, we will be looking to expand on the site as we have more information, as projects are identified, as funding information becomes more clear, and just giving users of the website more opportunities for interaction. So with that, we will jump into the website.
Thank you, Connor. So I'm Cindy Dees again. I'm happy to be here tonight to show you the website. We can go ahead and open it up. And right away, I hope you'll see, we're really trying to tell a story here with the website. So Connor mentioned, the brand identity and why that is so important. But this page is really about helping customers of Woodlands Water and the broader community understand what this is all about. And as Eric mentioned, provide that transparency piece, as well as lots of opportunities for engagement and just open information. So to kind of start out with a little bit more about the website, right now it is very broad, and that's intentional. Because as Connor mentioned, we're still outlining projects, we're still outlining funding sources and things like that. So as time goes on, deeper into the project, and those things become clearer, we'll be able to add all that information to the website. But right now, it's really more setting the stage for what is to come and getting folks used to coming to this website as a way to engage with the project. So renewal is coming. We know that there's projects, that are definitely moving, potentially moving forward, but there's more that may be identified. And so this is kind of talking about that, setting that tone, and then also tying this back to the 50th anniversary. So that's a big deal coming up next month. And so, of course, that already is a great opportunity to start telling the story that infrastructure is aging. We just heard that, come up in the meeting. And there are choices that need to be made about how to move forward. The graph or infographic that you're seeing there talks a little bit about just kind of an overall philosophy about how an economy ties to kind of time for any city, town, township, municipality, that as you kind of start growing your community, things are kind of booming. And then, they start to mature, start to age. And at that point, there are some decisions that communities have to make about, are they going to invest in their infrastructure? Or if not, then what are the impacts associated potentially with that? And so that's what that section starts to talk about. Why now? So timing is everything. And as the Woodlands turns 50, so does its infrastructure. And so we talk a little bit more in this section about what that could mean as the infrastructure ages and some of those decisions that have to be made and why timing is important, what delaying projects could potentially do. We go. Yes.
I feel very concerned that there's a deep embedded bias in majority of this information. That 50 years is a real life for the construction. And I think we've seen a number of aspects and we're currently doing work to confirm whether it's true or not. So I think this appears to be a end around the science, which says infrastructure may last much longer than 50 years, to telling everybody it's 50 years old, we gotta replace it. Okay?
Yeah,
I mean, we just talked about this in the past. We've talked about not releasing things that are not approved, not funded. So I've got a major problem with it.
This indicates a decision has been made. I don't believe the decision has been made or.
Where have you read that? Where have you read that? And she didn't say anything about what you just said.
Well, everything here
It's
is
just
going down
reporting.
one path of selling something as if it's a done deal.
Or has been sold.
Well, look at the
Look at the
chart.
whole thing up there is talking about, here's the future, here we have to replace this.
Yeah, okay. So this implies that you're decaying in 50 years. Okay, it talks about 50 years.
Where does it say
Okay.
you're decaying at 50 years? It doesn't
Well,
say
That's
that.
implied throughout, Eric. It doesn't
Decision
have to
point
be
is here.
specific.
Then you're going down.
It says the Woodlands is approaching its 50th anniversary. You're reading a lot into it because you want to. This is not selling anything
I think
other than being transparent to the community that our infrastructure is aging and decisions will need to be made. Whether it's at year 50 or year 60 or 70, it doesn't matter. It's coming.
Well, I mean.
And also, there's not a single,
The day you install it, it's aging. Okay?
right, but
So-
you're implying that
So
there's
you've got
something going,
75-year life.
there's not a single project that is listed right here. There are many projects in the 10-year plan that are funded and going on right now because that is aging infrastructure. It's continual, as you just said.
Yeah, all.
So you're focusing on two projects that aren't even noted here.
Okay.
So you're jumping to conclusions, conspiracy or not, but that's not what's going on. We need to be clear about it and not start down that path.
What's clear is that assets that are 50 years do not necessarily.
That's not what this says. You just implied that.
No, it starts, this shows a decay at this.
At what?
Okay.
Right. Does it say 50? It doesn't. You put it in there.
I think what's- what's
50th
implied
anniversary,
here.
I mean, not a leap of faith to assume that from 50th anniversary to DK Point.
But it doesn't
I
say
just
that.
see it-
You've read that into it.
Not specifically.
All right.
Leading you down a path.
There is a path that we are on, and infrastructure is it will need to be addressed. Whether it's 50, 60, 55, 58, 78, 80, it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's
This
that's a
could,
tremendous difference. Look, that's-
no, when to do a particular project matters. There is nothing here about a particular project. It's about educating the community that we have aging infrastructure and something will have to be done at some point. Okay? So can we get through this?
Sure.
Thank you.
Involved in the next section. Who's involved, talks about Woodlands Water, SGRA provides links back to those websites if folks wanted to explore a little bit more about those agencies. But we do provide some information about the agencies here on this page. If you go down a little bit more, roles and responsibilities of each partner in the renewal plan. And so we have outlined here Woodlands Water, MUDS, and SJRA, as Connor mentioned. We definitely have picked up on there being some lack of understanding about the different agencies that are all involved in water and wastewater infrastructure management and maintenance in the woodlands. And so we wanted to be very clear with providing resources about those roles. So you'll see that kind of throughout the page, but what's included, so projects, what we're saying right now, to Eric's point is that, you know, projects are currently being determined and being prioritized. So there's no specific projects mentioned on this page. And then it just gives some examples of how those projects are being determined and prioritized through using things like condition assessment, expected service life, likelihood of consequence or failure, staff inspection, study results, repair and rehabilitation history, and any impacts of upcoming regulatory changes. And then below news and updates, these are just staging articles, but we will have a news release there and then more news releases as time goes on, as well as articles of interest that we would want to provide that further provide information about the plan. Stay in touch. You'll see these forms kind of throughout the website as well. We definitely want customers, the public, to stay up to date and get information through newsletters and other emails that we might send out about the project throughout its life.
I have a question. So we have the website that the gentleman just spoke about. We have this website. I just feel like as a consumer kind of overwhelmed by the number of sites you can go
Which
to.
other sites are you talking about?
Well, this site plus all the other information that you have available through the,
This is the only, yeah, this is the only site. Woodlands Water has,
yeah, the one that the gentleman before spoke about. Yes. These communications things. So is this going to be a part of this? Or is there gonna be one site that a person can go to find?
for anything infrastructure related, this would be it. Whether there's an active project, future projects, discussion, community outreach groups, would all go to this page. For anything related to infrastructure itself,
And what is the goal in this?
to
other-
educate the community and be transparent.
But in addition to that, you want them to participate
Mhm. Definitely.
in focus groups, what kinds of projects? Kinds of things.
What do you mean?
Well, if they're gonna.
Participate.
participate,
So
What's
some
that
of the
mean?
ways, right, that we'll want the inviting participation is through a survey that we plan to launch along with the site. And so that's gonna be the first opportunity. And kind of as we go through here, we'll talk a little bit more about other ways that people can engage, but there'll be things like, you know, open houses, community meetings, targeted stakeholder meetings to go and provide information and education and transparency. Give people an opportunity to ask any question that they might have from people that can answer those questions right there, right then and there.
How does that involve the board, like us as directors? Will we be going to these engagements to listen to our constituents per se? I guess I'm trying to envision all these people working at the same time.
Let's get through this and then we can
Okay.
walk through the rest. That's,
We definitely have more to say about that, so we'll definitely be there. About the plan, there's just another tab on the website, and it's, not fully built out yet. As I kind of mentioned, more details will come out as the plan goes on and decisions are made. But right now, it's very broad. It just talks about, what the renewal plan kind of would encompass, potentially. And if you scroll down, we also have, just some key terminology for folks, to kind of understand what are we talking about when we say water infrastructure. That's kind of, not a term everybody just knows. And so we're just providing some common language there. Renewal plan benefits. So this section does talk about, some of the things that the plan would be looking to potentially do to benefit, customers and the public. Because people are always, interested in how is this going to impact me? How is this going to impact my family? What is this plan going to do? And so this section, does start to speak to that. We also go into some just general knowledge about asset management and how, assets can be, maintained throughout their life cycle. And so, if you go into preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance, or reactive maintenance, depending on, investments that are made in infrastructure. And then water is serious business. As I mentioned, there's infographics on this page. This infographic in particular, is really trying to help, the public understand, why water, can actually tie heavily to quality of life, and wastewater, and give some facts about, water in the community. And same thing here, except this one goes a little bit more into kind of the business community, and how water can impact anything from a restaurant, all the way to an industrial facility, that water plays a large role in their operations. Okay, and if we go back up to, about us, I started mentioning, the 3 different groups that are involved in, water renewal of the woodlands. So here they are again. And again, this does lead back to their pages if people want to explore more. We also have a nice infographic that, outlines who does what, as well as provides some visual about the actual infrastructure that, each entity, manages or oversees. And then just more information here, that correlates with the graphic of about, what each entity does. So lots of information to really provide, a breakdown of what the agencies all do, what role they all play in the community. We can go back up to the top, and then we have FAQs. So FAQs, this section is probably one of the most dynamic on the website in the sense that it does change over time. And, the questions you see here will probably always be here, but there will likely be more added. Frequently asked questions is where we try to come up with the questions we believe, and the PEC and woodlands water supply, we believe people are going to have right away. We also, add to it as we hear trending topics in the community, whether that be in person, on social media, and that type of thing, so that, hey, if that's a question that comes up quite a few times, let's add it to the site. And so, Maureen is clicking around, you can kind of see some of the content there. Get involved. As I mentioned, we do want people to stay involved, stay engaged. This provides social media links. And so we're not planning to create, new social media pages for this. So people will be directed back to social media pages they're probably already used to following. People can also ask a question or sign up for newsletters from this page. Okay. And then there's also, if people just want to go and submit a question, there's a form here to do that. And then folks want to just submit for the email list, that's how they'll do that. And then events. So this is something we were kind of starting to touch on, but there will be, events associated with water renewal of the woodlands in the form of open houses, or other community events that are already ongoing, where representatives from water renewal of the woodlands go out and be able to talk to the public about it. Media, we do, expect that media is going to want to know what this is all about. And so we have a landing page here for them to find everything that they would need, one-stop shop. And this, again, will be updated as more information becomes available. But everything they would need here, they want to write a story or call someone for a quote or interview, this would be where they'd be directed. And then we have contact. So this is if someone wants to contact someone in the project, this is where they will go. Insert email here will be filled in closer to the launch. Find your mud. So some folks, you know, may want to know what mud they're in, or they're just curious about all the other muds, ones they're not even in and where they located. So this is a map that is already available through Woodlands Water, but we wanted to provide it here in case people wanted to think that information out. So that is the website, in a nutshell. Thank you.
You just have one more slide here, just with my next steps. So, we are looking to, launch this awareness campaign, launch this website, on September 19th. That is this Thursday. Cindy mentioned the survey, as, call to action, that would be located on the survey. We make that known and available in our other notification methods. We just have, a handful listed there. So along with launching the site, would be, direct email blasts, news release, social media content, and those will be our initial awareness announcement mediums here on the 19th, and then we'll be looking to we'll be coordinating with John to build awareness through Woodlands Water Weekly, insert announcements in Waterville messages. And this is all, bringing awareness to the renewal plan itself, bringing awareness to the website to begin this education campaign. And then further down the line, Cindy already mentioned, we will be looking to schedule large scale open houses, attending community events that are ongoing, and the Woodlands, other targets that we. So in addition to all of that, we will be, something that we identified through our communications plan development was establishing a community room. So I realize I don't have a lot of detail about what that is and what that means on this slide. So I'll go through what that means to y'all. And I'll start with just, composition of that. The community working group, what we're looking to do is have that be composed of primarily representation from each MUD, representation from each village association, as well as a couple of representatives from the business community. So that would be our core group of representation, and then we'd also reach out to local elected officials, and then we'd have participation from the township, Howard Hughes, Woodlands Water, Estuary as well. The purpose of this working group is really to establish a regular dialogue with the community, understand community concerns, and really get to know what folks are concerned about, and have if possible have them help us distribute up to date, accurate information. And another key component is mitigating misinformation that might be out there, about all of that too. And so I think Eric has preempted, this conversation here with, previously, with y'all, but we are looking to receive an appointment or a nomination from, today, to be a part of our I'd be happy to expand on anything about that if you have questions on in relation to a working group or about anything that we talk about.
My understanding, the working group would likely meet quarterly, more frequently if necessary, but at this point, quarterly. Yes. And the one market with Neston for Neston van earlier. Correct.
Tomorrow, we talked last month, are you still good for this one?
Yeah, the timeline needs to be fine. And like,
Okay, and you had, and, but I also think it's important that folks understand the result of not paying attention over year after year after year. A great example of the city of Houston and 36 billion gallons of water. Of course, they have a system that consists of 8,000 miles of pipe. They don't wanna raise their rates. They didn't raise their rates. Now, I mean, I can't even do the math, 36 billion if you sold it for $2 a thousand. How much money they let go down the drain that could have been used to maintain some of that hate. Now they're looking for billions to go try to do it in a hurry. Of course, they've been sued by the city for the same problem with the wastewater system. The 2 billion they're looking for. So that all equates to somebody's gonna make the rate. And I don't pretend that it would happen here. I mean, that's why we're the Woodland and we're proud of the fact that we don't let things deteriorate like that. But I do think it's important to show people, to emphasize that, especially when you can't see them, you can see a torn up road, you know, or the lake. But, to me, the infrastructure that you can't see it, you don't know when it happens. You can only try to go out and look at it like we're doing. I value it. Or we can wait till it starts flowing. Okay.
Well, the muds are already rehabilitating, so the sanitary sewer was, phase one of that was completed, last month. Phase two will be done this coming year and the phase three the next year. So you're already, addressing a lot of the sanitary sewer piping. Obviously, waters is being evaluated, treatment plant, et cetera. But we've also got quite a few other projects that are going on that are rehabilitation or renewal projects that may not get as much, media press per se, but are actually happening, and you're already doing it, which is good. Hopefully, this gives the community a landing spot to start learning about what the MUDs are doing in rehab and renewal, because you're already doing it. And then they'll be able to ask questions and get input and be involved in better understanding what the MUDs and we do for you.
Yeah, and then we'll Easton and water loss. There's just Easton water loss.
Well, yeah, it's confusing to me because over the years I've heard, you know, at symposiums, et cetera, what their loss rate was. It doesn't come up to 36 billion. So I think that's one of the problems is who evaluates that loss, how much. But I don't know what percent. I mean, just, they're fixing 600 miles of pipe a year when you got 8,000.
Right. Yeah, I
I don't know.
if you look at our metrics on water loss, I think we're industry leading.
Pretty high, pretty good.
No,
Pretty low.
Yeah,
no,
4.5 is unheard of, I guess that's what you got.
So
So your losses are low.
losses are low.
There you go.
no, I understand.
Take Houston's numbers. They didn't just get there overnight. They started at some loss and they tracked it over years.
1840.
And their system's older, of course, yeah. There's,
No, I agree, and I said that's where I want our loss to be, and I'm glad the state required us to do that, submit them, and, it's a problem all over Texas, it's not just here.
Well, thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Lots of good information. Will we have a link on the Woodland Water site that takes us to this?
yes, there'll be a public notice going out that where you can find it, and then the link, will be sent out, and it'll be all over. Yep.
So you just go to our normal site, we'll find a link.
Yes. That's correct.
Okay, report.
I'm sorry?
You have a report?
Yeah.
Brad, we need to go into our session, that's just, I'm making sure.
Oh,
Okay, trustee meeting, real quickly. Nice introduction from Cornerstone, which is the lobbyist. I think those slides posted that they shared last week.
If not, we'll
Yeah.
make
So
sure
if you're
there.
interested in what a lobbyist does for us, go look at those slides. They're very good. Okay? Talk about the 50/50 ratio on the next page. There was a discussion about the GRP. Let's table that. And I think we're looking at, can we do some education in that area? We talked about, what else? Projects, that's it. That's all I've got. Unless you guys have any questions about what's in the, yeah. Okay.
All right, we do need to go in closed session.
It stopped.